Sex Trafficking Hour with Ellie Leonard. That's why I put on my flannel, It's just, and I got my rocking chair. It's just an office chair.
I know. I'm in a folding chair, so there you go.
There we go.
Get a paid subscription. I'm in a plastic folding chair. I can't have nice things. Yeah.
Not in this economy.
No, well, I know.
Well, Ellie Leonard, how are you? First and foremost, how are you doing? How's everything going?
Great. I'm doing great. I've got a couple days off extra from school, so I'm like shoving every second filled with Substack ventures, and I stayed up till like 1 last night transcribing some of these JP Morgan emails because they're really blurry and hard to read in the PDFs, and like they're gnarly. There's a lot of.
See, that's why you're an investigator. That's why I know you are an investigative journalist. I don't care what you say.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm going to write something on stoicism, and then I'm going to go ahead and play video games, and lift weights.
And I'm like twitching in the corner.
Yeah, and I'm just like, boy, Ellie's doing good work now. Well, let me keep back to my game.
Yeah, right. Well, like I thought about that the other night, and I was like, when was the last time I watched TV? Like, you need to get a life and like watch Dateline or something, like watch other people's problems. But anytime I take a break on this stuff, like when I go to work, I feel like I'm, when you're like climbing up a really slippery dirt hill, there's nothing to hang on to, no roots to hang on to, and you kind of like go a little bit forward and then you sort of slide back down the hill. Like, I feel like that when I go to work for 7 hours, that I'm like, oh man, I'm missing all this stuff that's happening, or I'm not getting the thing out that I'm working on fast enough that it's getting missed. And then something else is going to come, and then I'm going to have to focus on that, and then that thing's going to get missed. So I just feel like I'm like losing ground every single day that I go to work, but I stay up late and then I work on it. So.
Well, the thing is, this story is so huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take, years to really uncover the whole thing. For God's sakes, we were still talking about Watergate a few years ago, right? Like that was, and this thing promises to be like
innocent times,
right? Where it was just some jackasses broke into
stole something and the president covered it up. Like that's a metaphor for our whole life right now, stealing and covering it up.
It's an American tradition.
Yeah, it is now. I feel like they're, on the one hand, there's all these people who are in these files, and again, they're in two different places. They're at the DOJ. I feel like those are the more structured, like monetary files, and then there's all the stuff that's in the 1953 estate, which is owned by his lawyer and his accountant. That's basically his house and all the stuff in it. Didn't do a real good raid. When they did a raid, a lot of stuff they got tipped off, wasn't there. That's the first thing. People don't want to release these things because they don't want to be indicted. They don't want to be included. They know they're in there. They don't want to get in trouble. The second part of it is for the people who aren't in the files, but who are in charge of what happens when the files are released. This would be potentially the biggest court case in U.S. history. Yeah. And the amount of time, effort, manpower, and money that it would take to prosecute all the people who are involved, I question if we have it, because it's global at this point. And I think just the idea of how big it is, people don't want to do it, and they don't want to release for just that reason.
I think so. I think the cultural moment that we're in, I think is it's going to lend itself to that. And I think Donald Trump and MAGA are going to be two big drivers as to why we go a different way. And and I'm like, so this is looking as like as something on the scale of the Panama Papers, right? So it's that massive. And at that point, but that was just most about money, like the blurring of the lines between illicit money and legal money or whatever. Right. And Robert Mueller talked about that in his report. And then Joe Biden took steps to kind of curtail that and separate that. But that was never really, for lack of a better word, sexy. It was never salacious. It never captured the public's attention. And what you're seeing, but this is a whole other level of awful. And I think what you're seeing now is that you can't unravel Trump from this thing. And the reason you can't is not because his name, like they might have redacted his name completely out of it. But the fact that they have covered it up and we have gotten to a place in this country where the corruption has been so rank and so rampant. And if you take all the absolute just thumbs on the scale, not one, but two, that Trump got
right
in Biden's term, right? With the top secret documents at Mar-a-Lago, when Eileen Cannon like basically covered all that up and threw that out. The Supreme Court ruling that basically said, oh, well, there's official acts and unofficial acts, and they gave him a pass and they pushed all that out so he could run again. People are sick and tired of basically the rich and the powerful getting away with things. And I think when we finally get to 2028, with whatever's coming, whatever economic pain is coming, which is self-inflicted, I think at that point, this is going to be a method of basically legal retribution and justice, and people are going to grab onto it.
Right.
So if that's a hot take I have, like I hope that's it, because this is one way that you can reset. Sort of, you can sort of bring the Overton window, the systemic imbalance, back towards something that's even approaching.
We have to burn this. This is a trial where we would literally have to burn it all down and rise like a phoenix from the ashes, because it's everybody who's not poor, which is like all the rest. I'm poor. I get that I'm using that, not poor, but everybody who's not 100 millionaire, a billionaire would go down. That everybody's linked. I mean,
you go ahead. I cut you off.
Well, it's a very we the people moment, right? Like Trump has been banking on Americans not knowing and understanding things in order to get as far as he's gotten, and he did, and that's how he got where he got, is because people took things at face value. They went with what their neighbors were talking about. They followed memes. Like they don't know anything about the Constitution. I saw signs when I was in Montana that said, "We love the Constitution because you can't change it." And I was like, "You mean like an amendment? Like, so are you like not for the Second Amendment then? Should we just, because that's fine. I'm fine with that, but I didn't know you're that woke." So like, this is a moment when Americans actually know the case and are following the case and have read up on the case and have watched films on the case and like know what's going on. And then that starts to get people who are like, well, hold on. I voted for you. I like you. But what about this? I'm hearing this and this and this and this. And I have actual evidence for this. And people I trust are talking about this. And he has banked on us not being able to do that for a very long time. And this is the first bipartisan thing where everybody knows what's going on.
Yep. Well, and you look at, and this might be a sort of weird correlation to it, but stick with me. It's you look at Mamdani's recent election, and man, the cope that I'm seeing from the moneyed class in corporate media, right? It's just been off the chain, right? You got the head of the FDNY is resigning. I'm leaving New York. Okay, bye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There was a hedge fund manager that said, "Oh, well, see how you like it. If you rent freeze, it'll be catastrophic, for New York." I thought, oh wow, so
we lost George Santos,
Oh yeah, he's talking about it'll be catastrophic because, well, then landlords won't have the money for repairs. It's like, huh? Okay.
My landlord pulled up in a brand new Porsche the other day. Let me talk about if they have enough money for repairs.
There's that, right? There's that component. And it's just it's this sneering sort of, like this sneering rich that like, how dare you plebs ask for more than what we think is your fair share. And when you throw something like in this environment, I really think that Mamdani's election, you starting to look at the data, was about up down. It was not necessarily about left right.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
no.
and
Mm-mm.
you're starting to see like the discrepancy between. I mean, it's like they're posting this like, oh, he's a communist, he's a this, he's a that.
They have
The
never
it,
Googled. They have never read into it. They don't know the difference between socialism and communism. Haven't got a
no,
clue.
they and here's the thing. He's literally like the things he's asking for is free busing, which if you're super rich in New York, you're not
They don't
using
care.
bus, you're not using busing. And the other thing too is he's asked is 4 city-run grocery stores, 4, which is desperately needed. And here's the thing: before that, they tried the private sector solution,
Mm-hmm.
Walmart, all this other, and they couldn't make it. Like there's like it's not
Not in New
profitable,
York. Not in New
right?
York.
It's like
You
it's
go to
not
Walmart.
right. It's not it wasn't profitable,
Right.
and so they're trying this because there is no private sector solution. There's just this, and it's like we're forced to try to make this work. And all the rich can do is say, "Well, tough, figure it out," but we're not going to help you figure it out. And you throw in something as horrible as the Epstein files, where they're all kind of caught up in it. I don't think people are going to be like, "Well, it's just too big. We can't tear it all down." People are like, "Oh no, oh no,
We'll tear it
let's
down.
tear down the system that's been pushing me down."
Yeah,
That's
all of us
fine.
are happy to tear it down. We don't care how many people it takes.
Yeah, and
Right.
I think Biden was the last sort of he was the last sort of gasp of the institutionalist, right? The
Mhm.
corp like sort of that institutionalist kind of corporatist Democrat that is like, well, we're going to put the system back where it was. No one's calling for that now. That I'm hearing on like Nancy Pelosi's retiring finally at 85,
Yep.
and she had a great career and nothing against her, but
She shouldn't
it's time to
retire
move
at
on.
85.
Yeah,
Like
it's
half the
time to move on.
problem, right? Half the
Yeah.
problem that we have is that 85-year-olds are running this country. And what percent of the population is over 85? Like, not much, you know?
Well, it's you're not looking to the future at that point. I mean,
Hmm.
you've got, I know we're kind of, segueing here, but it's like you got Donald Trump's wanting to get the DOJ to investigate the 2020 election because of, his legacy. And it's like, dude, we don't care about that. What we're going to care about is rent, grocery prices, inflation that doesn't seem to be coming down,
Hmm.
child care costs.
Right.
And it's interesting because I think if you take this economic pain, which is definitely touching the middle and working class,
Hmm.
and you put in like I saw a tweet from it was reposted by Kasim. It was from David Schuster that he's got he's got sources or there's contacts in the DOJ that are saying what's in those files, even with the redaction, is so much worse than we even know now.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want you to kind of like if you can touch on that, like I mean, they're saying like the evidence there when it finally comes out is just going to be worse than it is now, and it's pretty bad now
Yeah.
with what we know.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? And
Well, if you want to just talk even just the money, like just this week they released the paperwork from JP Morgan that's mostly
yeah,
unredacted, and they unsealed it. I mean, that's one institution where he had 84 bank accounts,
wow,
and that they absolutely knew what he was doing. He was flagged um for sex trafficking style banking years ago. And they watched him like a hawk after 2006 when he was arrested for sex trafficking the first time. And yet there were all these meetings where they get together and they say, yeah, but he's one of the top 3 investors at JP Morgan. And then he starts working with Jez Staley, who's like the CEO, and every email between the two of them is just like, it's like a weird relationship. Like, it's like they're doing it, you know? I'll be honest. It's not like a client at a bank. It's like Jess Staley's like, I miss you. I was so glad we got to have that hug, but let's not tell anybody. Like, it's weird. It's very, very weird. And then Epstein's telling him how to do his job. Like Jez is about to go give a speech and goes, no, you're not giving that speech. This guy is going to give the speech. You're going to be in the room for the speech, and then you're going to leave after the speech is over. Like he's telling him, he's like the dominant, guy in the relationship. He's telling him what to do and how to do his job. And this is like his investment banker. And so all along the way, they just have, so much documentation that says that this highlights that there was sex trafficking involved. He's got these businesses set up, and yet there's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in these businesses going to women, going to lingerie, retail shops, going to like everything was a rounded dollar amount, all the cash he was taking out, and it was always just a few cents below the threshold for reporting. Like so many red flags, and they knew about it the whole time, and yet they never, never, never reported it. And then he dies, and then 3 days later, after he dies, they go, "Oh, we're gonna file a report on this guy. He was kind of a bad dude." And it's like, right, like 3 days after so stupid and such like tripping over their own feet. And it's like a multi-trillion-dollar institution. That is one bank. If you open up those Epstein files, it will be multiple and all the biggest institutions in the US and globally, because they were working with the Treasury Department. Like in these emails are like, we're meeting with the Treasury Department. Over multiple years, they were working with Dubai, they were working with China, they were working with Russia. Like they were meeting with all the vice presidents of finance of China. Like it's humongous. Like just that portion is humongous. Then you start to look at the sex trafficking stuff, and like it's in there and people did it. Like there are people who have gotten away with it. And the person that I will name, and I will not say how I know, and I will say allegedly just to save my own butt. Alan Dershowitz got away with it. He was accused. And then Virginia was forced to give a public retraction and say she made an error. I know that is false. I do, allegedly. But it's false. It's absolutely false. He is somebody who got away with everything and has made $4 million defending Epstein. Like every single person on that list is culpable, like down to a person like Matt Groening, who is just getting his feet rubbed on an airplane, like culpable. If you didn't say something and you see someone who looks like a child rubbing your feet or rubbing men's feet, you are culpable. It is such a long list of people, and they have all the client lists. There are client lists. Like they can't say that there's no client list because they have his cell phones. That is his client list. They have his bank statements. That's his client list. Like it is a very long list of people that were racketeering, that were money laundering, that were flagged since the early 2000s, and nothing happened to them. And so it's huge.
I gotta stop you right there. Unless there is a list that at the header it says sex trafficking client list.
Emoji.
No, it's funny because that's what the Supreme Court said when it comes to bribery. It's like, unless they're literally spelling out in writing, I'm paying you money to do this thing.
Right. Well, they kind of did. So they released these ledgers a few weeks ago, and they're mostly redacted, but there's like the two parts that they didn't redact. They said paid $200 for Prince Andrew to get a massage. Like he's a client. He got paid, or he paid, that's a client. Like you can argue semantics, but that's a client.
It's sad when King Charles is just like, yeah, bro, we can't. We good, man.
I think they're saving their own asses. Like,
of course they are. 100%. Right. I mean, the thing I'll say about like what globally, and this is what I will push as it comes around, is I don't care what other countries do. I care about what we do, right? And we need to hold our criminals accountable, and. I want to see the scene from the end of Casino where it's like we got the FBI going to JP Morgan Stanley, and just they're putting up the crime scene tape, and just like
we are about. I feel it in my heart that we are about to eat the rich, like physically and forcefully and legitimately eat the rich, because none of us were involved in this. Like none of us poor man, working class, we were not involved in this, and nor would we be.
Only feet I've ever rubbed on a plane were my own. Yeah, it's like,
please don't stress me.
But that's it. Is like you get these, it's for the longest time the rich and powerful have not paid a price, right? They've always thrown some sacrificial lamb that was like a George Santos or something that was so freaking egregious, right? That it's just like, oh, okay, well, we'll just make an example of you. But I think Trump has broken that because he's gotten away with so many things, and we're past the point of numbness with this stuff. We're past the point of like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll just take another one because I still got to pay my bills, and I do think that there's an interplay with the fact that the median first time homeowner's age is 40 years old. You cannot make it in America on minimum wage anymore. You can't afford to live, period. Like, and we haven't raised the minimum wage. Federal minimum wage is still what it was like 20 years ago. And it has not gone up. And you're not going the trickle down's not working, especially when it's being looted by the rich. And I think you're kind of seeing a shift now because it's interesting with the tariffs. So they're arguing tariffs in the Supreme Court right now. And with Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett and Roberts, the questions they tend to ask at the first is where they're going to rule. And so they're really hammering over like separation of powers and tariffs are a tax. And this is a thing of Congress. It's like, oh, that's the central part of Trump's economic plan. And I think it's because they're trying to save their ass because they know the crash is coming.
Right.
And so they got to throw somebody under the bus.
Right.
It's like, well, technically, the Republicans in Congress can go, well, technically it wasn't our fault. It was the president. He did something illegal.
Right. They have to still work here when he goes.
Yes.
You think they'd work harder to like save their own ass. Like, I don't know what they're doing.
That's what blows my mind with a lot of these. I mean, it's like you know what? I have to give her credit. Marjorie Taylor Greene turned out to be a pretty savvy politician because she's reading the tea leaves. Well, she's reading the tea leaves and going, yeah, man, this ain't gonna last. I got to pivot.
No, I know. She's a terrible person.
Oh, of course. Like, oh yeah, she's awful, right? I'm not, but you would think like you would be seeing like it would not just her. You'd be seeing a lot the rest of them.
Yeah.
And I think you will soon, but this is where we have to keep receipts and go, remember when you said on this date about this right here and you voted against?
I keep all tweet logs. Just because there's so much irony. You just look at Epstein and you just go back. All you have to do is go to Twitter and go into Truth Social and search under the word Epstein, and you get the entire chronological list of everything that they have said. And it's just a beautiful little journey from really, really blaming Biden for never releasing the Epstein files to all of a sudden saying that they do not exist. So it's the internet is great for not forgetting. I have to say, for research purposes, the internet is fantastic. I have my other problems with it, but for that reason, nothing disappears. It's great.
Well, Kash Patel, he's got a new girlfriend that he has to use taxpayer money to go see.
Did he woo him with his eyeballs? Right.
He can't be bothered to do the job of FBI director and, investigate crimes. No, he can't be bothered to do that. But I really think that I don't think the Epstein thing's going away. I just don't.
No, and the things that he wants to be distractions, like Trump's trying to do all those little distractions or whatever, are just putting a spotlight on it. So it's ripping children out of their homes makes people go, whoa, that I voted for you, but what are you doing? And then they start to think about, well, then what's this over here? Or tearing down the White House who tears down the White House 2 weeks before an election and then starts endorsing people? Like, what a stupid move. Like, who is like, oh, I'm so excited about you tearing down the White House? No, everybody's pissed on all sides. They're just like, what are you doing? You're tearing down the White House. And so they go, well, then if you're doing that, then what's this happening over here? Like, it's spotlighting the bad decisions that he makes, and that's the worst one. So yeah, not going away.
It's amazing. So apparently there's a rumor that even White House staffers are calling it the Epstein ballroom.
Good. I don't even think it's gonna be a ballroom. I think it's gonna be like a safe house. You know what I mean? Like it might look like a ballroom, but I think it's like a I think there's a thing for it. I think that whole thing that he did a week ago where he's like, oh, the Constitution says I can't run for president for a third time, and everybody's like, oh, thank God. And I'm like, no, that's semantics. He's not planning on running. He's just planning on not leaving.
Yeah, seriously. I really think that, and again, I was saying this to Larissa Reinhart, is that I've made the mistake of ascribing intelligence where there isn't none, or there isn't any.
Yeah.
Sorry. And with Trump, everything is just id and right now, and that's it, right? If he can push on accountability for 5 minutes, he'll do it. Even if it's like, okay, you can push this off, but boy, it's gonna be even worse. Like, okay, I just need these 5 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah, like I'm looking right here. Like I can't see it.
And he's gonna build the bunker, and it's gonna be like the crazy, demented old man that's in there. It's just like, Donald, you need to come out. No, you're gonna make me be held accountable for the Epstein files, and it's all a lie. It's like, you got to come out, Donald.
Okay, I'm gonna do a really niche reference that I really hope you know. Have you ever seen the movie Parenthood with Steve Martin?
Yes, I have.
When his kid was made to play second base, and then he's like imagining what's happening when his kid was forced to play second base. He didn't want to. He missed a play. They like won the biggest game or lost the biggest game of the year, and he imagined what's going to happen to his kid as a result. And he's up in like the tower of the college, shooting people from the top, going, "You made me play second base."
Second base.
I've always pictured Donald Trump ending whatever presidential run he has as the kid up in the tower, shoot. You know what I mean? Like not shooting, but just like barricading himself in and saying, no, not going, not leaving.
Yeah, I think that's a strong possibility. I really do. I think it is going to be this. There's going to be this like snap moment of us where we're like, wow, we really elected this guy to president of the United States. Like this guy who, and then
twice.
Yeah, twice. And now it's like, wow. Yeah.
I know. And my problem, okay, this is the issue, kind of back to the Epstein stuff, is it's kind of like Nuremberg, and I've heard the reference of Nuremberg with the Epstein files, Epstein was older. At this point, he would have been quite old. All these men involved are much older people. Do you think like Wexter's like almost 90? Like these people are going to start dying without accountability, and they've never even been talked to. Like Wexter's never been subpoenaed, and like Trump is going to die without accountability, and maybe that's a blessing, depending on when. But like these people need to be charged and taken on trial now, because we're on a time clock. Like we're running out of time. They're older, they're weaker, they're losing their sensibilities. Like they aren't going to remember the things that they know.
I think what you're going to see, what you could possibly see with this is Epstein is going to turn into the sort of symbol for the cultural moment we're going to find ourselves in. And you're going to find because I think in some ways, if these people escape accountability, before it'd be like, oh, well, we just have to move on. I think people are going to be so mad, and they're going to just say, no. Who didn't hold this person accountable and why? All right, we're going to hold them accountable. We're going to find whoever, and it is just going to be, and honestly, that was Nuremberg, because you got to remember, it's like Goebbels had killed himself. Hitler had killed himself. A lot of the high command had tried. Himmler had committed suicide.
And then Hitler had killed the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, so all that was left was Goering. Like, so, you had higher officials, but like the one that was all sort of on the level was Hermann Goering, who was hung by the Allies, or hanged, however you want to say it. But I think that's what you're going to see. Is you're going to see you're going to see, okay, what did you know and when did you know it? And we can't get to these guys because they're dead or they're enfeebled. So we're going to get you, right? And what I hope that we gain from this is just this, is the continuation of this cultural moment where we're asking the questions of how did this occur? Like, how did this happen? Because, for a time when this was going on, it's like, oh yeah, you're having sex with young girls, like whatever, 16 years old. Well, they're mature for their age.
And that whole idea of when is it consensual, depending on the country that you're in, that was an excuse that was used by many people involved. So like,
right.
You hear Ghislaine Maxwell say that over and over again. Well, in Europe, in England, it's 16. So we weren't really breaking any rules because that's where I'm from. And it's like, that's not necessarily true. Or like she said that Epstein's rule was if they'd started their period, they were old enough for consent. And that's gross. Like, what, like,
because that could be 9 years old.
That could be 9 years old. Yeah. Well, I was going to go back. Somebody asked a good question in the comments, like, are there any states that could press charges? And there are. So you think of like the Sweetheart case from Florida, where he got a really lame sentence, got out, went on with his life. There were his accomplices in that. There were 4 women who were very much accomplices. They were all of his assistants, and they were given immunity, and no one has ever charged them since. But that immunity only applies to the state of Florida. And most of these cases happened in other places, happened in New Mexico and happened in New York and happened in the Virgin Islands, which is, a U.S., what do we call that? I can't think of the word.
U.S. territories or
territory. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so we can, and I was thinking about this with Mamdani, like he doesn't have a lot of power in these types of things because he's not part of like the federal justice system of New York, but he has some. And he does have the ability to request that cases be open and to present them to like the Southern District of New York. He can't make them say yes, but he can present it to them as an idea to reopen these cases. And I thought that would be interesting. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, or you could do like what Letitia James did, right? Where you can, apply the New York statute to it. Or depending on how this goes, we have a Democratic AG, Jay Jones, in Virginia. Right. So it's anything that potentially
you got a lot in Virginia.
Right. Yeah. Potentially cross state lines. Right. I mean, and
yep. I mean, New Mexico has a lot to talk about. A lot of stuff happened in New Mexico, Ohio.
Right.
A lot of places that they could prosecute.
Well, and that's the thing is you have to have the will to do it. Right. And I think that once this comes out, they're going to find the will, because one of the things I think is going to happen moving forward is Democrats absolutely won big Tuesday night. But what the soul of the party is going to be, you saw this with Cuomo in New York City, where Bloomberg supported him. And then you also had Elon Musk and then Trump eventually, back Cuomo and still got creamed.
Yeah.
And so now it's this is Mamdani's party, not Chuck Schumer's, not even Hakeem Jeffries, who came in and supposedly kind of soft supported Mamdani.
Nobody went to his party. I know that.
Right. And it's like you got AOC, you've got, and you look at No Kings, that's just been growing and growing and growing. You're going, I think the fight that we're going to have on the Democratic side is who's going to wrestle control of this party. Is it going to be working people? Is it going to be middle-class people? Is it going to be we the people? Or is it going to be, we're going to just continue to let corporate interests kind of dictate this stuff?
No, it can't be that.
And I honestly think that the Epstein files are going to be that's going to be the catalyst break. That's going to be the catalyst. That's the breaker.
Right.
That is
Well,
the thing that's going to hammer
we
hammer.
have, I mean, this puts a whole bunch of ideas in my head, but we have power as people in numbers to request that changes be made. So,
Yeah.
in an idea like Leslie Wexner, any one of us can apply to or can write to the Attorney General in Ohio and say, you need to reopen this case into Leslie Wexner and what happened in New Albany, Ohio, because in New Albany, Epstein owned basically an entire town and ran an entire town under his thumb. And so much corruption happened there, and girls were raped there. And so it's like we could all get a letter in the mail and say, we want you to open this case in New Albany in Ohio and go prosecute Leslie Wexner because he's almost 90 years old. We want you to do it right now. And, I don't know if something would happen, but I know if they get 200 emails requesting the same thing, they're going to pay attention to them. We have power. We just have to figure out how to harness that power and what to do with it. Like, people don't want to anger their base. And if this is the thing that angers their base, and rightfully so, then they're going to do something about it. Because again, Congress doesn't want to leave. They want to stay in their positions after Trump is gone. And if this is as big as it is, then it could wipe everybody out. You never know.
Well, and I think this, because I saw, some some Substackers were talking about like, oh, well, no case really didn't do anything. It's just, performance this, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't agree with that because.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either.
No, I don't. Because what it has shown is that mass mobilization is possible, right? And so it's about people, because people do things incrementally, and we've gotten to a place in this, because I'm sure you hear this all the time. I hear this. What I hear a lot is, well, I thought we were supposed to have guardrails for this. Well, I thought we were supposed to have checks and balances. I thought we were supposed to have this. And it turns out like we don't have those unless people enforce them.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the entire governmental system.
Right. And it takes people to run it. It takes people to actually step up and say, oh, it's my job and my department's job to prosecute it. And sometimes those people need a push. And if there's enough people to push, to say, to your point, is to go to the Ohio State AG or, someone and say, hey, you need to look at Leslie Wexner. This is important, whether it's a petition or it's a sit-in or it's a protest or it's a letter writing campaign or it's all the above. That's the power of citizen action.
Right.
And that is what we are going to need. And basically, we are going to have to make our leaders do their jobs, and it will never stop. It's just something we have to get used to. It can't I voted, we're good. It's like, you got to talk about it. You got to advocate. You got to agitate. You got to push.
Don't sit at home and yell at your TV.
Because they don't want to do this. Because they don't want to do it because it's hard. Because it's a risk. Because you might. It's like it's much easier to just say, oh no. Let me go after the the poor criminals that basically have no recourse, and I can just. It's a slam dunk, and I can say, oh, look at my success rate in prosecutions and da-da-da. But you go after people that are connected and wealthy.
Right.
But I think this moment is like, no, we want this.
Yeah. And those gatherings are good because I think part of the system that Trump has put into place is to make people feel like they're alone and that they can't do anything. And when you see 100,000 people gathered in a single location for the same reason, you know that you are not alone. And maybe it's not 11% of the entire U.S. That's 100,000 people standing there that feel the same way that you do. And it gives you hope to then do the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And that's all you can do. It's baby steps. Like fighting like a regime is baby steps. It's a bunch of people doing baby steps together. Like we've done it once before. The timing is very ironic. We're about to hit that 250-year mark. But we're capable of it, right? Like we are now tossing our tea. This is us tossing our tea into the ocean and saying, if we have to do it again, we'll do it again.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the essence of democracy. It has to serve the people right now. And That's why you can amend the Constitution. I love the Constitution because it never changes. It's like, really? I'm pretty
Tell
sure
me you
women.
haven't read it without telling me you haven't read it.
I don't know. I think women can vote now. So
Look,
it might have been, it's in the 19th, 20th. It's around there.
some.
Around there.
Yeah, I could get into that. Oh, anyway.
But yeah, I think, I mean, these are the things I'd like. These conversations need to happen because, again, it's like, oh, it was just one guy, or it was just Jeffrey Epstein, and it was,
No,
but
this one
but
is
Jeffrey Epstein can't exist without people enabling him.
right.
Without saying, oh yeah, there's sex trafficking, but well, we can make a lot of money. I can get my feet rubbed. You know, and people look like
Yeah.
they turn a blind eye to it, and it's like, yeah, Matt, maybe you don't get prosecuted. Matt, you're right. You don't get prosecuted for getting your feet rubbed by an underage girl on Epstein flight, but you got to take.
We're gonna cancel you, though.
Yeah, you got to take accountability for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like maybe we don't need another season of The Simpsons. Maybe it's time.
That's a hard one.
Maybe it's time to wrap that thing up.
I know. It's just it's a sad thing. It's kind of like in Me Too. It's sad to know that people who create great things aren't always good people, and it's disappointing. It's disappointing. It's disappointing that people let money and power go to their head.
J.K. Rowling, J.K. Rowling, H.P. Lovecraft.
What was it? Deborah Messing. I posted her the other day.
Oh my God! It's so. I want to talk about. Yeah, I saw that today. Is she really going MAGA? Or is she like? Is that
you see her crazy eyes?
Yeah, I know. I was like, what?
I mean, there's no other place for her to go because she dislikes Mom Donnie so much that she's just dropping Islamophobic stuff all over the internet. And it's like nobody who's not MAGA is going to be like, come to us, come join us, you great thing, you. No, like that's a one-way ticket to MAGA. You know what I mean? Like if you become a vocal Islamophobe on your social media channel, you're driving that car. We're not telling you where to go, but there's no other direction.
Islamophobia just kind of kills me because it's like, isn't the global war on terror over? Like, aren't we past this? Like we're still doing Islamophobia. I thought we were doing like we hated Hispanics again. I thought that was the new redux,
Just don't know. I don't know. But they carry this book around that tells them what to do, but they don't open it. You know what I mean? Like there's all this love thy neighbor stuff, and they're like, nah.
Yeah, but not that neighbor,
Not that neighbor.
Yeah, like,
or I'm a huge patriot. I'm very patriotic of all the people came here for freedom of religion, except for those people, right? I love that poem on the Statue of Liberty. I love it, but it doesn't apply to those people, right? There's all these accepts, and it's just whatever works for you. And again, and when you add them all up, guess what you're left with? A little tiny white box, little Christian white box. And it's like, well, that's where we started. So
don't worry, they'll hate the white South Afrikaners, at some point, and they apparently
really limiting yourself, just whittling it away.
We're just importing them, I guess. I guess we're it's like
and I can't tell if we took giant steps backward in time or if we just took the scales off our eyes to, do a biblical reference and just revealed everybody for what they were already the whole time.
That part.
I don't know.
That one. It's that one. I really believe that. I don't think. I think as long as we had toothless
presidents,
toothless social progress, then it's okay. Like as long as it really didn't threaten the status quo, it didn't threaten the white patriarchy, it was fine. But once that really and started to threaten that, where you see, I think once we got a black president,
I know
that's when people lost their minds, because then it's like, oh, now you got a black president, now you're letting a woman run. Like what? It's like women are gonna be in charge.
And I've seen a whole bunch of stuff like people love to post like, if Obama ran for president again, would you vote for him? And I'm like, no, you guys, You guys, we have a constitution. He is not the only Obama out there. I loved him. He was a great guy, but we didn't have him until we had him. And there is another Obama out there and another and somebody else. And it's like, we need to start finding these people. He would not vote for himself again because he knows it's unconstitutional.
Right.
Like,
he's a constitutional professor.
We can't do this anymore. We need to start like everything that we have a problem with Trump, always constantly looking to the past. We can't do that either. Like, we need to go out and find these people. And Mamdani's a great example. Like, he's progress and he's new and he's young and we accepted him and I didn't vote for him. I don't live there, but like, people voted for him more than they have ever since the 60s. Like, 2 million people voted in that election. It was crazy.
All I know is I think it's time to let women run things because I've got PlayStation trophies I'm trying to get. And I don't have a whole lot. I want leisure time. It's like, I want to support the women. Y'all go out there, you do it. I'll be here, cheering you on.
Not the word. Let's say you did anything else where you tried it every time since the beginning of history and it didn't work out.
Right.
And then you had this second choice and you're like, but now I keep trying the first choice. Maybe it'll be right this time. It's like women are wired differently. We are wired differently. And I know people go, oh my God, they're hysterical. Like, we also know how to harness our emotions. And we also know how to think emotionally about the repercussions of the decisions that we make, right? Like, we do a good job as people who, not everybody's a mother, but I am a mother, not was, thinking about how what I do here will affect this person over here, because I have to think about it every day raising my kids. Not to say that men don't do that, but like, I just feel like women are in it 24 hours a day. And so just try. I don't understand. Every other country in the world, third world countries, are having women in leadership. Like, we're supposed to be the biggest damn country in the world. And they still are like, no, let's try this again. I know it didn't work those 400 times, but let's give it one more shot. Like, how about just don't? Like, just don't. One time. Give us one time.
Well, it's the, what is it? The milk ain't going to get any fresher. So it's just like, ooh, this milk's spoiled. Maybe it'll be fresh tomorrow. Maybe it'll be fresh next time I try it. But
yes,
it's interesting because I've worked in leadership positions. I've worked in operations, and I work with colleagues, led men and women, and I've seen a lot of leadership theories, selfless servant theory, all this other stuff, and really, honestly, it comes down to you have to care about your people so that they can have buy-in to a process, right, or to an institution. And the good leaders I've seen, men and women, do that. Mm-hmm. They seem like they're the exceptions a lot of time, right? And you get a range from, like, now, thankfully, the exceptions are like the power trippers that are just sadists and love to flex it. They tend to be the exception, but they also tend to rise faster too. Mm-hmm. I've seen that, and you're seeing that with Trump and the people he has.
Yeah,
the middle of the road is just literally like they want to just kind of get the paycheck, do the least that they can, and just stay in their position. They're just kind of seat fillers. And
Congress.
Right. Yeah. Really, that's it. It's like they want the perks. They just want to be seat fillers. Mm-hmm. They just want to kind of, slink down and, they don't want to stand out. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But yeah, some of the best leaders I've worked for have been women. I've worked for awful women and I've worked for great women. And, I do think that there is something to, on the whole, I've seen better, on the whole, I've seen better women leaders than worse women leaders because really, it's really because they have to do more to get where they're at.
Yeah. When you have to work hard to get to a point, you appreciate that point.
Right. You're not just, you're kind of not just handed that if you're a woman. Mm-hmm. The ones that, ironically, the ones that I've worked for that have been kind of terrible have been the ones that were very sort of masculine in this, like toxic masculine, right? Where they're just like ego driven, you
I
know.
wonder if that was like a defense mechanism, though.
I think, I mean, but I think that's how they rose, right? Is like,
Yeah.
it's like the powers that be were like, oh, yeah, we know this behavior, we are this behavior, so you're one of
So
us.
we bond with it better. Yeah, that could be.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
And
and I
yeah.
and you but the problem is where a lot of them where a lot of folks fail with that mentality is at some point you run you are successful as a leader if you can get people to do a little extra.
hmm
That's where
And
like
to
that's
want to, right? To want to do extra.
yeah, like to do well, like to give like, it's not about giving you 110%. It's like if someone that day only thinks they can give 60, but you get 65 out of them, you know, you get them to give you a little bit more. Like through inspiration or support or whatever, that's how you make a difference. And that's the thing is like leadership is it's an everyday thing. It's you actually do as much work if you're a good leader than if you're a worker. You just do it in a different way.
Right.
You
Just make people.
devote yourself to the institution and the team. And a lot of people don't do that. They think it's like, oh, I'm management now. I'm a leader or I'm in charge. I can just sit back and I'm good. It's
Right.
like,
And when you go to a job every
no,
day and you feel invisible, you don't stay very long, right?
no.
If you're seen and heard by people who make, X amount more money than you do, it matters. Like I used to work at a corporate like engineering firm in Seattle. And I was very low on the totem pole. I worked as an admin, but the guy who ran the company took every single admin out to lunch twice a year, one on one, picked our brains, let us ask him our questions, and then what could improve, what do we want from our jobs. Like he took us out, whatever restaurant we wanted twice a year.
Yeah.
And I felt like, oh, he actually knows who I am. Like he knows my face, he knows my name. He bought me lunch, he listened to what I said. You know, I don't know what happened with it, but like I wasn't invisible. And I think people just want to be seen.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. They want to be acknowledged. They want to be validated,
hmm
and, I think, and honestly, getting like circling back around to it, I think that is way with a lot of Trump supporters. And I think that's with anybody. And I think that's where he's failing. Like, it's interesting because,
Probably got them in the first place, but now it's not there.
well, so there was supposedly a gaffe, like, if you could point to with Kamala Harris on the campaign trail when she was on The View and she was asked, what would you change of Biden's policies? And she said, nothing.
hmm
And, we've done a great job, da da da. But people were feeling economic pain at that
Right.
point, right? And so a lot of folks, said that they felt that was a slap in the face. And so ended up voting for Trump, or maybe that was the excuse they were looking for. It's interesting because Brett Baer just interviewed Trump, softball interview, but he asked him a question. He said, "Hey, there's a trucker who's out of work, who is one of you who voted for you, said, when are you going to bring prices down? I'm hurt. This hurt. It's hurting us, right?" And Trump's response was, "Oh, prices are down. They're way down."
Like I'm
And
gonna
I
gaslight
gotta,
you.
and you wonder like, or like with Snap, it's like, oh, you shouldn't be on Snap, but they
Right.
are. So how
That's
many
not an answer.
slaps?
That's not the question we asked.
Right, yeah. And so how many slaps in the face where it's
Yeah.
basically saying, screw your pain, screw what you're going through. You should just shut up and take it.
Right. Well, and just like get a guy in or a guy or a girl, woman, man, into office who can relate to the people that he is leading. Like when you say that you have to bring your ID to pump gas and you have to go to the grocery store and put the apples back in the fridge, like you have no idea. He thinks you have to use your ID to buy groceries. Like
Yeah.
he has no idea what he's talking about. He goes, "Oh, Thanksgiving is so much cheaper this year." It's not. Turkeys are up 40% from last year. like he can say it, but there are statistics. Like there are statistics that we can just Google and there they are and they all match. And like so when someone says, why can't things come down in price? And he looks at them and goes, they are down in price. It's like, that's not the answer. That's not the question that I asked. Like actually, I would love to interview the guy. I would love to hardball the guy in a room and make him come and answer the specific question that I'm asking. And if he doesn't, I'm going to ask it again. If he doesn't, I'm going to ask it again. You know what I mean? I'll be annoying. I'm happy to, but
The only problem with that is, Ellie, he would just look at you and go, Ellie Leonard, you're just a very mean and nasty person. You're so
like,
rude.
Great, the door's locked. Sit down. Answer my question.
When you said like man or woman in office, I literally thought you were about to do the Trump cognitive test.
Oh.
Man,
his little
woman.
I took a test and I passed. It was so great. That's so funny.
Man, woman, kitty cat, maybe a dog.
Giraffe. Yeah. He's so fun. I'm so glad we're here.
like, man, I hate you, corporate media. Like, I can't tell you how much
what they're getting out of it. I just the level of schmoozing, it just doesn't make sense to me because they're not benefiting from it. They're gaining nothing. They're losing people from viewers. They're losing money. He's going to leave. They're going to lose more viewers. Like, you would think they would be working their ass off to know what people wanted from them versus trying to please him constantly, because all they're doing is hurting their own business.
No, they're you got a bunch of people in charge of that all they know is like, oh, we'll do another merger so I can get my stock price up. I mean, like, you look at, say, a guy like David Zaslav, who's over Warner Brothers, and it's gone are the days where you have a CEO that's going to be in charge of a company for like 15 years, and they're going to try to build a lasting brand or lasting, like GE or whatever. Mm-hmm. What you have is now guys, like, they know they're going to be in 2 to 3 years at best, and they're like, they've made it to the top, and it's just trying to extract as much money as they can from that company while saying it's shareholder value, right? So you have David Zaslav sells off Warner Brothers' entire music catalog.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Yeah, just sells it off because he knows that'll be extremely profitable and he'll get a cut.
Yeah.
So he doesn't care about the next guy who's going to be in his position, or if Warner Brothers is prepared for the next 10, 15 years.
He doesn't care.
No, because he'll get a golden parachute and he'll be out, and then that's it.
I saw him speak a couple of years ago at the New York Times Deal Book Conference, and it was right after the strikes. Like, I think they had just ended, and I remember it was just such a vacuum. It was a bunch of millionaire CEOs in the room asking questions from millionaire CEOs, and I'm just like sitting in there in the middle with my little notebook. Like, I make $18 an hour. But nobody was asking him hard questions like, what are you going to do for these people who don't have health insurance and are not making a living wage, yet they're making the movies that are making you a 6-figure, 7-figure income? Nobody asked him that. And then his answers were all just like mush, answers in a can. Like, nobody has anything to say. Nobody has any change to make. It was him. It was Bob Iger. It was Elon Musk. I mean, that's the day Elon went crazy and jumped around the stage. And yeah, that was a great day. I was glad to be in the room.
And on that note, it's like, since this is freezing up, it's like, we're going to leave you with Elon jumping around on the stage.
You can Google it.
Ellie, always a pleasure. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Substack at Ellie Leonard at substack.com, however that works out, or The Panicked Unpaid Writer, or you can look me up on any other kind of social media at Red Pencil Script.
Awesome. Always a pleasure, Ellie. Hope we can do it again sometime. Thanks again. Right. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.